According to Microsoft research, we spend 12.5% of our working lives playing calendar Tetris. Not in meetings, not preparing for meetings, just the back and forth to get them scheduled. Of a 40-hour work week, that's like 5 hours every single week doing something a robot can do in 30 seconds. You and I both realize that spending 5 hours a week, every single week, playing calendar Tetris with clients, vendors, or my own team is a waste. And that waste can't and shouldn't be part of my job. So when my executive assistant told me he was moving on to a new opportunity, I had a choice. I could either hire somebody else for 60 to 80 grand a year, or I could finally build that thing I've been thinking about for the last 10 years. So here's the hard part. AI is going to replace parts of every job. Not because it's malicious, but because companies will always choose efficiency to ensure their survival. So you kind of have two options. Option one is ignore it and see if it will go away. And option two is that you can learn AI. You can learn it so well that you become the person in your company that they cannot afford to lose. Just imagine for a moment, it's Tuesday morning. You've got 3 projects on fire. Presentation due on Friday, and your boss just messaged you saying, can we have a quick sync? You know that quick sync is not going to be quick. And then the phone buzzes and it's a client and it says, hey, can we meet next week to discuss our marketing plan? And you're like, sure, of course. When works for you? And they say, how about Tuesday at 2? And then you check your calendar. You reply back, I'm booked until 4. Could we do Wednesday morning? And you go back and forth until you realize, wait, are they located in what time zone? Oh, shoot, this whole time, you're thinking 11 Mountain, they're thinking 11 Eastern. These are very different things. And that, my friends, is how a simple email thread turns into a 3-day process and at least half an hour that you're never getting back. Now multiply that by 5 meetings or 10 meetings. Now think about your average workday for a moment. Scheduling is not the only big thing that you handle every day. That's a pain in the neck. Expense reports, email triage, taking meeting notes, booking travel, managing vendors, organizing files, all the stuff that has to get done, but that doesn't actually move your needle forward on real work. And this is why executive assistants were born. Now, before I go further, I need to say something. I have worked with incredible executive assistants over the last decade. World-class people who did not just schedule meetings, they protected my time. They anticipated problems before they even began. They made me better at my job. An EA is not just a task manager. They're like this force multiplier of brilliance, and I love them. But the reality is that not everyone can afford a great EA. And even if you can, they're human. They need to sleep. They should take vacations. And if you've got a really good EA, they will eventually move on to newer and bigger opportunities. So if we're going to build an AI executive assistant, we need to pick a platform. And let me tell you, there are a lot of options. You've got Zapier, you've got Make, you've got N8N. We could even build something custom if we wanted to using OpenAI's APIs. So before I could pick a single platform, I knew it had to do a couple of things. First, agents had to be able to talk to each other. You couldn't just have one agent who was off in its own world doing its own thing. They had to be able to speak to each other. Second, it had to be secure. I knew my private information had to stay private. You needed some way of having guardrails for your agent so that when you expect this kind of outcome, you actually get this kind of outcome. And it definitely had to integrate with my existing tools. Not to mention, it had to be low code. I was not interested in spending all day writing code making agents happen. It had to be easy. The only tool that fit all these bills was Lindy. So without further ado, let's go build an agent. Okay, I realized that I didn't quite set us up right for this. So part of the process of building this agent is going to be that we first need to figure out what my assistant was actually doing so that we can go and teach AI to do those same things, right? To be honest, it's almost a little embarrassing because when I sat down to start writing out how much my assistant was doing, I just didn't realize all those things. And now we're going to start writing them out and we're going to sort them out and we're going to see which ones AI can do and which ones AI can't do for now. Okay, here's the list I came up with. The calendar manager. They work with the calendar. They make sure that the things that that executive is working on at that point in time are matched to the energy that they have at that point in the day. Something that I think an agent can do pretty well. Next, the gatekeeper. A great executive assistant would act as the primary filter for the executive's office. They're going to manage some stakeholder diplomacy and act as a high-level gatekeeper to make sure that only the critical things actually reach the leader. They're going to be like kind of be a bouncer in some ways. This one's going to be a little bit harder for AI to do. We'll put that one in the maybe category. The next one is the information strategist, and they would manage the flow of data and communication. They're going to distill complex reports and emails and threads and put them into actionable executive summaries and decision points. Definitely a good one for AI to handle. The task manager is the engine of the office. They ensure that there's follow through on all the meeting action items. They close the loop with team members and they manage the execution of internal tasks. I'm pretty sure we can get AI to do this one pretty okay. The next one is the systems builder, and they identify operational inefficiencies. They build scalable processes and SOPs. They can manage integration of AI and technology stacks. This one's going to be tricky to have an AI agent do because we're going to be teaching the AI agent how to use AI agents. That one gets fuzzy. So we'll put that one in the probably not category. The next one, the brand manager, acts as the seamless extension of the executive's voice. They draft high-level correspondences. They manage the leader's digital presence and personal brand. Definitely something AI can do. The researcher. A really good executive assistant can conduct deep dive research into business opportunities, competitor shifts, market trends. They help inform them about what's going on in the marketplace. Definitely something AI can do for us. The travel planner. They help make sure that the executive has everything they need on a trip, from the flights, the cars, the hotels, and that everything moves smoothly. That one's going to be tricky. We'll put it in the maybe bucket for now. The note taker. They capture high fidelity recordings of meetings. They're focused on the strategic intent about what people were saying, and they make sure that the tasks get delegated to the broader team. Definitely something AI can do for us. Do you recognize what just happened here? Most of what EAs do, AI can now do. This needs to be your line in the sand moment. The point where you realize and say, I'm going to really learn AI so that it doesn't take my job too. So now we're going to build 3 different versions of our calendar agent. Level 1 is just stupid simple, just to prove that this whole concept works. Level 2, we're going to let the AI build the agent for us, which is actually pretty snazzy. And then for our level 3 agent, we're going to take what AI built us and then make it our own using a framework that I'm going to show you. So stick with me. It's going to be quick, but I want you to see the difference between the meh agent and one that actually feels like an executive assistant. So here we go. First, from the Lindy homepage, we're going to come up here and click New Agent. When we do, we are going to come here and hit Start from Scratch. We're going to call this Calendar Agent Level 1. And all we're going to do is select a trigger, chat with this agent. This means that we can have a conversation here with this agent inside of Lindy. That's it. We're not going to trigger it to start doing things for us outside of Lindy for now. And then we're going to click Enter Agent Step. The instructions for this agent step are pretty simple. Your job is to follow the instructions provided to you and to manage the calendars of the individual. The next step is to add skills. Skills are simply tools that the agent has access to that it can use to go out and do things in the real world. Our skills for this case are we're just going to start with Google Calendar, and we're just going to select all. You don't really have to select all, but we're going the ultra simple route for this first one. Hit done, and then we'll hit test. Okay, from here, we're just going to test this thing out and say something like, can you tell me what's on my calendar for tomorrow? And here's what we get. It's going to view my events. It's going to tell me, you don't have anything scheduled for tomorrow. That's a great day. Can you add a meeting for me at 10:30 a.m., breakfast at Tiffany's Cafe? It should last an hour and a half. Okay, it's creating an event for me. It says it created it, 10:30 to noon. It says it's done. Now, can you tell me what's on my calendar for tomorrow? Checking my events. Boom, just like that. We've been able to create an agent that can manage my calendar. Does it have the ability to talk to other agents? No. Can it be kicked off by other actions happening in my life? No. But we're here. We started. Level 1. Check. Done. Bing. All right. Now, before we move on, watch what happens when I ask the level 1 agent to schedule a meeting at a time that I'm already busy. So tomorrow, 10:30 to noon, right? We're going to come back here, test this baby, and we'll say, can you book a meeting for me tomorrow from 10:30 to noon called I already have a prior meeting? Okay, once again, here's my calendar. Push the button, and it did it. It just double booked me. Yeah, it did it. It just double booked me. No conflict check, no pushback, no, hey, you've already got something at that time. It just did it because we told it to do exactly what I asked, but I never told it how to think. So level 1 is proof of concept. Well, let's get smarter.
Let's go to level 2.
Level 2 is going to be about the same level of effort to build it, but it's going to be way more in depth than it was right here. So let's come back and create a new agent. All we're going to type is, I'd like to build a Google calendaring agent that acts like my executive assistant. Okay, it asks which Google Calendar should the agent manage. I'll tell it my email address. And then we get to click this magic button, start the agent builder. The agent builder is super cool. We're building an agent with an agent. I strongly believe we're going to eventually get to the point in the not too distant future where you don't actually build agents to do work for you. You tell an agent to build an agent for you. It's going to be magical. We're kind of there already, but this is not perfect. It's good for a second level agent, not a third level just yet, but we're getting close. It's going to think for a bit. Okay. We have a very similar looking agent to what we originally built, but now we have some additional things that have been built out for us. First, let's look at the skills that it gave it. It didn't give it all the same skills. So it can create events, delete events, get event details, update events, and view events. Definitely the most important ones. From there, it can send a response back to the user. Now we're going to take a peek at the prompt that it wrote for us. So its role: you are an executive assistant managing Preston's Google Calendar right here. You handle all calendar operations with professionalism and attention to detail. This sounds like a good thing. Your task: manage Preston's calendar by creating, updating, and deleting events as requested. Ensure all scheduling is accurate and conflicts are handled appropriately. And so on and so forth. We've got rules, we've got tools, reminders, and guardrails. These are all the components that the agent wrote for us when making this agent. Now, there's one thing I forgot to mention, that when we're using these agent steps, we need to remember, and that is that you can choose in this little configure button which account you want this agent to have access to. So for example, let's say you've got a work Gmail account and a personal Gmail account. You can choose by clicking this icon which account you want it to have access to. So by default, it's going to say select an account. You click the drop down, pick your account, and that's the account that this agent now has access to perform actions on. Go ahead and perform that for each of your steps. One thing we haven't talked about yet is that you get to choose which LLM you want in the background acting as the smarts for your agent. So it's defaulting right now to Claude 4.5 Haiku. It is set as the most balanced agent from a cost perspective, speeds, and intelligence. You can choose pretty much all the latest options from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and Kimi. For this purpose, it's generally pretty straightforward stuff, so we're going to default to Claude 4.5 Haiku. It's a great model for this type of thing. We're going to say always ask for confirmation. In this case, always ask me before using any of these tools in the real world. Okay, let's test this thing out. Remember that on our level 1 agent, we told it to make breakfast at Tiffany's Cafe at 10:30. So what's on my calendar for tomorrow? I'll check. Yes, nailed it. One event tomorrow, breakfast at Tiffany's Cafe from 10:30 to noon. Now we're going to ask it to update it. And you can just click this voice message button too and talk to your agent instead of typing it out. Sometimes that can be a lot faster. Some people have wicked fast fingers. I don't know. Can you please move this meeting from 9:30 to 10 to instead be at 10:30 to noon? And please rename it as brunch instead of breakfast. Okay, now brunch at Tiffany's Cafe, 10:30 to noon, update event. We're cooking with fire.
It's time for level 3.
All right, so level 2 is genuinely kind of impressive. AI built an agent for us, right? It picked the right skills, it wrote the prompt with the roles, the rules, the guidelines. It's pretty cool. But here's the thing that I need you to pay attention to. That prompt it wrote, well, not bad. It's kind of generic. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all executive assistant calendaring scheduling prompt. It doesn't know that I have 2 calendars, Outlook for work and Google for personal. It doesn't know that I'm in Mountain Time and that half my clients are in Eastern Time. It doesn't know that when my personal calendar says I'm busy, I don't want to be telling customers why I'm busy. It doesn't know that I want 60-minute meetings compressed into 50 minutes to give me some buffer time. Level 2 got us 80% of the way there, maybe 70. But the last chunk, the last 20 to 30%, that's where you, the human, come in. You've got to provide this agent with your personal expectations, your personal requirements for how you want it to work. My personal agent prompting framework is called ROPES, R-O-P-E-S, and it's based on a gob ton of academic research on the topic of agent prompting. And the letter R in ROPES stands for role. It's not just a job description, it's more like an identity. So the more specific you can make it, the better your agent is going to behave. If you can think of it like this, if you just found a new hire and you told them you are an assistant, they'd ask you what to do. But if instead you hired like a PhD in the nuances of scheduling and you said, you are my scheduling specialist and here's your domain, they'd already know what to do. Next up is O. It stands for objectives. These things have to be specific. measurable. You have to make sure that there's no wiggle room. The P in ropes stands for process. The same steps in the same order every single time. We're trying to eliminate the guesswork the agent has to do so that there's as little improvisation as necessary. The E in ropes stands for exit conditions. We need to add a clear finish line. When is the job done? I know it sounds kind of simple, but without this, agents have a tendency to keep going, asking follow-up questions, suggesting things that you didn't ask for, or they'll just stop whenever they feel like they're done. So these exit conditions tell it when it's done, so they can stop. And the last piece are the non-negotiables. The S stands for standards. The agent builder put these in 3 categories: rules, reminders, and guardrails. The lines that can never be crossed. Those are the ropes, the role, the objectives, the process, exit conditions, and standards. You're just telling the agent who it is, what it's trying to do, how to do it, and when to stop, and then the rules to follow. 5 big things. ROPES. So here's our level 2 agent again. So if you want a little hack, you can actually use an agent to build your agent prompt. And I'll just give you the link in the description if you want. We're gonna build it with this agent here. We'll just come up to test. What kind of agent are you building today? I'd like to build an agent that manages my calendar. And at this point, we're going to have a great little conversation here. It's going to act as our consultant, our prompt engineering expert, and really help us figure out what it is that we need to include in our prompt in order to be successful. It will go back and forth. It will answer some questions, probably 4 to 5 times, but in the end, it's going to write for us this really great ropes-based prompt for our AI agent. And here it is. All right, so here's our level 2 agent and the level 3 agent prompt that our prompt engineering agent wrote for us here on the right. But now we're gonna make this level 2 calendaring agent ours. We're gonna make it work for us. And the first thing that we need to do is update its identity. So we can get to that by coming up here to settings, and then we're just gonna copy this, take that, we're gonna paste it over the top of this context. It now says, you are Preston's personal calendar agent, a friendly, efficient assistant with a full autonomy over scheduling operations. You communicate in a warm but pithy style. This was important because I didn't want my agent just like blabbering to people, and I didn't want it being so concise that it felt like a robot. Conversational without being wordy, always providing only what's necessary. You are time zone savvy and detail oriented, and you serve 2 types of callers. Preston, that means me, I can message this agent, or trusted agents, other trusted agents. For example, my email agent and my chief of staff. That all looks great. Now, we're going to come back here to the flow editor, and we're going to update the prompt for this agent. This role component we covered over here in the settings in the context. So we're going to nuke that. We're going to delete and replace these objectives with these objectives. Then we're going to take this process component here. We're going to replace these rules here. And from there, we're going to take these exit conditions, and we're going to hold on to those for a second. We will use them in a moment. And then these standards here, we're going to take those and we're going to replace the tools, reminders, and guardrails that we've given this agent access to overall. Essentially those things, tools, reminders, guardrails, are all standards. They're the things I need my agent to always do and to have access to. And now we're done. We've got the O, the R is here, the role, the O, P, E we need to get to in a second, and S. E comes here. It comes at the end of our agent. We're going to come down here and hit add an exit condition. And here are our exit conditions. So right now it just defaults to exit once the task is complete. And then we say a task is complete when, and here's our explanation. We can put that all there. That's level 3. The agent builder gave us the bones and ropes gave us the rest. That makes it actually ours. Now let's see how it holds up when things get messy. We're going just to save this, duplicate it, and this will become our version 3. Then it's time to stress test, my friends. Let's put this thing in the pressure cooker. Come up here to test. We'll click message received, and we will say, can you book a meeting for me from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock tomorrow? It should be called Winter is Coming. All right, let's see how it handles it. Tomorrow, please. Perfect. It checked my availability first to see if I'm available. It says there's only one event from 8 a.m. to noon. Your slot is from 3 to 4. Ah, interesting. Okay. Now, if you recall in just a moment ago, when we looked up my meeting for tomorrow, it had a different time zone listed. So 8 p.m. to noon is not correct for when this meeting is scheduled. This is reality when you're working with agents. So now we get to do a little bit of diagnosing to figure out what's going sideways and fix it. Okay, what we found was daylight savings kicked us in the pants. We're going to add a couple new memories to our agent to make sure that it always remembers to fix this when booking things across daylight savings. The first one I'm going to put in here is double check the created events. After bulk creating events, you should spot check a few to confirm they match what was intended before confirming completion. Okay, here's the next one. Instead of manually calculating offsets, you should rely on Google Calendar's time zone setting and let the calendar system handle daylight saving time automatically. This eliminates manual conversion errors. And lastly, test with the sample event first. Before bulk creating events, you should create one test event and verify it displays correctly in my calendar before proceeding with the rest. Remember that I always work in Mountain Time. Now, this is where things start to get fun. Let's say for a moment that you got an email from your kid's school and it included a list of activities for you, and you wanted to import those into your calendar, but you didn't want to do them yourself. So you got an email. Your emailing agent sends the context of that email off to your calendaring agent, and then it books all these things for you, reports back to the emailing agent that everything's all good, and you didn't have to touch anything to put these school calendar events on. So here's what this might look like. I had one of my agents make this random list of calendar events for my fake school for my kids, and we're going to have our agent put them on the calendar for us. We're going to say something like, this is a list of events for my kids' school. Can you please add them to my personal calendar and add 15 minutes before and afterward for me to be able to travel to home and return from the event. All right. Nice. Okay, so let's go back and look at this for a moment. The first activity was science fair presentations from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on March 15th. If we come back to our agent and look at the first one that was created, 9:45. Okay, not quite right. So the spring book fair should have been from 1 to 2:30. You'll notice that it's at 2 to 3:30. This is, again, real life when working with agents. Sometimes they don't do exactly what you think they should. And sometimes it's because you've picked a dumb model. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and change the model from 4.5 Haiku to Gemini 3 Pro and see what happens. I've attached a list of events for my kids' school. Can you please put them on my personal calendar? Oh, this is good. It's checking events, checking my availability to see if I'm available. It created the first one from 9 to 11. It was supposed to be from 9 to 11. It was booked from 9 to 11. That's beautiful. Everything looks great. Please move forward with everything. Moral of the story today. Make sure that you have chosen the appropriate level of knowledge for your agent. When we were using a really lightweight agent, Haiku 4.5, which generally is pretty good, it wasn't doing great. When we changed it to Gemini 3 Pro, it's doing exactly what it should. It's almost like it knows how to read the instructions better. It's almost like it cares. And you have to think about this. It's kind of like people. People do this too. We are selective about the instructions we follow. We have opinions on things. Agents are the same. That's okay. That's part of the job when you're working with agents. So we're going to go back. Perfect. Book fair is from 1 to 2:30. Book fair is from 1 to 2:30. Talent show is on 6/5 from 6 to 7:30. Here's the talent show from 6 to 7:30. Now let's go give it a real challenge and see how it handles a very awkward request. Can you please update each of these events to start 15 minutes earlier so that I can have some buffer time for travel, and then update the event name to include the actual start time of the event so that I'm not confused as to when it actually starts. This is pressure testing. This is awesome. The science fair, which originally started at 9, now runs from 8:45 to 11. It changed the name of the event. Let's go look. Here it is. 8:45, 15 minutes of travel, starts at 9 a.m. This is awesome. Time saved. We're moving forward, baby. So here's where I'm supposed to give you the big answer, right? Can AI replace an executive assistant? And you're probably expecting me to say something like, yeah, absolutely, go fire your EA, build some robots instead. But I'm not going to say that. Because here's what I've learned over a decade. A world-class executive assistant brings things that AI genuinely cannot replace. Empathy, human interaction, participation with the printer down the hall, or Joe in the lobby who you don't want to talk to right now. The ability to read the room and to know that today is not the day to talk about the budget problems. The ability to earn trust over years and not milliseconds. Yeah, all of these things, if you've got an EA like that, you should keep them. You should protect them and probably pay them some more. And then make sure that they watch this video so that they can learn how to take some of the burden off their shoulders and get even more of those human-centric things done for you. They are irreplaceable. But here's the other side of that coin. Most of us don't have that person. Most of us don't have any EA. We're the mid-level managers, the senior ICs, the department leads, who've all been drowning in admin work that doesn't move the needle. And we've just been absorbing it for years because we thought the only alternative was to go and hire a human being for 60 to 80 grand. And what we just built in this video? A calendar agent that never double books, that protects your privacy, that compresses meetings to give you some breathing room, that negotiates scheduling on your behalf while you're at your daughter's piano recital. This agent and the other 4 agents that make up the body and breadth of your basic EA cost you less than $50 a month and will handle the, statistically speaking, single most time consuming admin task in your workday. Booking meetings. Is it a perfect replacement of an EA? No. Can it read the room? Nope. Can it bring you lunch and a pat on the back and a smile that says, you're gonna survive this when everything is falling apart? No, definitely not. But can it give you 5 hours back every week? Yeah, yes it can. And this is just one agent. Remember the breakdown from earlier? The task manager, the brand manager, the researcher, and the note taker. Each one of those becomes an agent. And when they're all connected, when the note taker finishes a meeting and hands the action items off to the task tracker, who pings the right people, who follows through on follow-ups with the scheduling agent, that's not a tool anymore. That's a system. And that system gives you something you can't buy, your time. So can AI replace an executive assistant? Yeah, for most of us, kinda, yeah. And honestly, kinda is more than enough for most people. All right, if you're still here with me, you are a builder. You're not a spectator. I put together a 7-minute quick start guide that you can get for free in the comments. And it includes the exact ropes prompts, the exact Lindy templates, everything you need to build the scheduling agent yourself. No coding, just you in about 7 minutes. I use Lindy for all of this. And again, links are in the description if you want to try it. In one of my next videos, we're going to build the proceedings officer, the agent that joins your video calls, takes notes, distributes action items so that you never have to type per our conversation again. Drop a comment and tell me which other agents that you would like to see built after that. Thanks for watching. Now, go build something and stop letting calendar Tetris run your life.